Well, hello everyone, Mr. Lad here. Thank you so much for tuning into this channel one more time. If you have not already done so, go ahead and click that subscription button, click the notification bell, wax the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the video. So as you can already tell from the title of this video, today we're going to talk about how to wash and wax a vehicle the right way. Now allow me to first off start by saying there really isn't a wrong way to do it. There are the obvious wrong ways, but most likely if you're watching this video, you don't know about those obvious ways. But we're going to go ahead and discuss how I wash and wax a vehicle in direct sunlight, the products that I use. I will do my best to not be redundant, not repeat myself. I will do my best to convey the information accurately, promptly, and appropriately, and allow you to spend some time and be able to watch the detailing, because for some of you that's probably why you're actually going to stay tuned to this video, is because of the actual detailing. But before we get into the next part, as always, you want to start off cleaning the wheels and tires. In a mobile environment, 9 times out of 10, I am using a non-acid wheel cleaner. I am using Fully Involved from the Vice collection. I spray it on, I let it dwell for 30 seconds to a minute, most likely even a little bit longer than then. And then I take the pressure washer and I allow the pressure washer to do what it does, and that's apply pressure and apply water to remove dirt and grime. And I'm always going to follow up at the end with a towel to clean up. So that's how I'm starting this off. Now, when we get to the next section of the video, I will reconvene then. So the first thing that I do is I obviously rinse down the vehicle. For a lot of people, they think that you should go ahead and foam the vehicle first and then rinse the foam off. Now, if it was a ceramic coated vehicle, I would use that logic and I would go ahead and go that route. But this is not a ceramic coated vehicle. This is a simple wash and wax. There's no paint correction involved. This vehicle has never been paint corrected, and it probably will never be paint corrected. The owner just wants slick paint, shiny paint, and doesn't like to see it dirty, so that's where I come in, right? So I go ahead and I rinse off the vehicle first, and I go ahead and allow the pressure washer to do what the pressure washer does. As you see now, I am taking the same wheel cleaner, Fully Involved from the Vice collection, and I am spraying for tar, bugs, kind of some extra grime and oil that picks up from the road. It does a really good job. It may not remove it 100%, but between the chemical, the pressure washer, and then when I go over with a mechanical service such as a wash mitt and soap for the lubrication and the surfactants of the soap, that all combined gets it 100% of the time. I've only seen one time where it doesn't do that, and that was actually a lot of tar that kicked up from the road, but that was an excessive amount, and so nothing would work there. I actually had to use gasoline, so that's a whole different ball game in there. But I rinse off Fully Involved, I rinse it off, and then I get most of that dirt off by doing that. Next, after I have gone ahead and rinsed off the vehicle, then I'm going to go ahead and spray an iron remover on the vehicle. I heard someone say kind of in a jokingly manner that if the iron remover doesn't smell, then it's not good. And that might be true to an extent, right? But I'm spraying, this is Iron Buster from P&S Sales. And Iron Buster is a great, it used to be a cheap product on the market. Now it seems to be just an appropriately priced market. It used to be like $60 a gallon. Now it's like $85 a gallon. So, let that be what it is, right? But it does a good job. It's not the strongest iron remover, but it does what it's supposed to do. It's starting to, the thioglycolic acid in the product is starting to kind of break down the iron, and it's kind of starting to break and dissolve the particles. Now, it's not going to get it all. As a matter of fact, iron removers don't really do a great job at removing everything. they actually really don't do that good of a job of removing a lot. Really what I use it for is to kind of help break down the particles, so that when I follow up with the clay medium of whatever I choose, then it will be an easier process there. It's just that way when I'm taking a clay bar up to the vehicle, I am not scratching at everything, and I am going at it in a little bit of a safer method, if that makes sense. Now for the fun part. Now it's time for the foam cannon. So after I've let the iron remover kind of dwell for a few minutes, I follow up with the foam cannon. And what this is going to do is obviously allow some lubrication for when I actually clean the vehicle with the wash medium. But also it's going to kind of help the iron remover not dry on the paint. The iron remover is pH neutral, but even at that, even though it's pH neutral, the chemicals inside of it still can do a little bit of harm. So there's kind of a 3 or 4 or even a 5-fold thing going on. The iron remover has a safer way of staying on the vehicle, so it's not drying on, if that makes any sense. Then also, when I go over with the foam cannon, the iron remover is kind of reactivated for when it does dry, right? And then another thing is that when I am washing the vehicle with the foam over the iron remover, that iron remover puts a little bit more bite into the soap as I am cleaning the vehicle. And so it's kind of doing that. I'm allowing the iron remover to stay on as long as possible. And then here's just another thing as well, with the soap now mixing with the iron remover, right? When the iron remover now eventually gets to the surface or the driveway, I'm not having an issue where it's staining the driveway because there's now more moisture, more water, more stuff or whatever diluting it, right? But whenever I am going over and cleaning the vehicle and there's iron remover on it, yes, the iron remover will get on you. You will smell it. You will, come in contact with it. That smell will get on you, but it is going to help out a little bit. Are there more effective methods of doing it? Oh, of course there is. Ivan LaCroix has a great method where he just uses the iron remover as a lubricant. He does one spray on the panel, one spray on the clay medium, the clay towel, or whatever he decides to use. Yeah, that probably might even be a more cost-effective way of doing it and still getting the job done. But for me, in a mobile environment, I do like to have a little bit more working for me. I like the chemicals to do the job and not my arms, if that makes any sense. Now, what I just did is I did a very light rinse. I did not get everything off, just a very, very light rinse just to get some of the dirt off the vehicle. I'm reapplying just a little bit of the Iron Buster just to go ahead and put a little bit more on the surface for that little extra lubrication. Now I am taking my rinseless wash here, and I'm using my rinseless wash mixed with the iron remover to clay the vehicle, and I'm using right now the Max Shine clay towel. It's an okay clay towel. It gets the job done. It's not really marring the paint. It's not the most aggressive. I've used much more effective ones. I've come to learn this with clay towels. You get what you pay for. I've used a lot of the cheaper ones, and the cheaper ones that do a great job at removing the particles, they also do a great job at leaving tons of scratches and swirls in the paint. And so I find the Max Shine to be a decent priced product that decently picks up the particles in a decent fashion without really leaving much marring behind. Of course, anytime you take clay or a mitt or a towel or a bar to a vehicle, you're going to get some type of marring. That's just the name of the game. You're taking an item and you're rubbing it up against paint. That's just what happens. And so when I'm going over with the rinseless wash, it really does help me to be more effective. Of course, soap would work. You could just put soap in a spray bottle, but I don't know. I just felt like using the rinseless wash in this method or in this moment. And so the rinseless wash I'm using is PNS's Absolute Rinseless Wash. You can really use any rinseless wash. If you want to use rinseless wash from DIY Detail or ONR from Optimum polymer technologies, or you want to use PNS, or you want to use whatever your chemical guys, whatever you want to use, it's going to get the job done. It's going to be fine. You don't really have to overthink it in this moment, especially if you have a little bit of the soap left on the panel. You have some iron remover on the panel. I've got like 19 different sources of lubrication here, so I'm actually going at it very safely and very effectively here. I wouldn't say effectively, but very safely at the very least, right? And so that's just what I tend to do, and that's what I use. Now, what I'm going to do is go over again with another step with the foam cannon. And the reason why I do that is I want to go ahead now, as the iron remover and all those polymers and whatnot, as they dry on the panel, they drip down, gravity does its job, and they get into the panel, the cracks and the crevices of the vehicle on the exterior. And so I want to make sure that I apply some foam, some soap, and what it's going to do is kind of help emulsify and kind of grab onto the iron remover, grab onto the rinseless wash, and even the particles that I have removed with the clay towel. Because here's the thing, if I have just removed those particles, the last thing I want to do is just leave them on the panel of the vehicle. And so I want to go ahead and now take a foam cannon, let the foam from the foam cannon dwell on the surface of the vehicle, and allow it to kind of, that soap to fall into the creases and the crevices and the cracks. And with my pressure washer, now I'm going to go over and I am going to rinse that off. Now, do you have to do this step? You may not have to. I have noticed that when I do this step, it is a little bit more effective at removing the iron remover, although every case is different, every vehicle is different, every detailer is different, every circumstance is different. So this is one of those steps that you just do at your own discretion. If you find that it's going to help you, great. I'm making a video on it and I'm explaining the steps, and so I'm going to explain this step. Even if it's not the most necessary step, I will include it so you know that this is a possibility, and if you do this step, you will find benefit, even if it is just minimal, but you will still find benefit with this step. All right, so now the most important step, right? Of course, we've decontaminated the vehicle, we have cleaned the vehicle, and now what we want to do is start the protection aspect of the vehicle. Here I'm using PNS's new product, Defender. It's their ceramic spray. It's basically their equivalent of Technician's Choice ceramic detail spray. Longevity is pretty good. Now I am doing the drying aid method here. Now you could do it like this and just leave it here and you'll get good results. It'll probably last you 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks. But I'm using this as a base layer, and then what I'm doing is, now that I'm using it as a drying aid, it is leaving a base layer of product on the vehicle so I can go ahead, do the interior of the vehicle. By the time I come back to the vehicle, it will have been an hour, I think actually an hour and a half on this one, and I'm able to go back and you will see the following step afterwards. And now for the last step of the protection process. It's been about an hour and a half at this point since I have done the drying aid method with the product. Now I'm going over as the spray application, about 2 to 3, maybe 4 sprays at most per panel, depends on the part of the vehicle. But I'm going over now, I'm applying, you can call it the top layer, you can call it the most important, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But I found that using this method really does help, because with the base layer and the drying aid wasn't that effective, but it does leave a good base layer. Now I come over with a topper spray, and what's happening is, since it's the same product and it hasn't really fully cured, what's happening is now that the layer is building upon each other and they're working together, and what's happening is, and I've been able to test it, now this is where I'm going to see about the 2 to 3, and this vehicle, since it's garage kept, I will see 4 to 5 months of protection. Now if the vehicle is left outside, as you can see it's very slick, if the vehicle is left outside all the time, you'll probably get the 2-month protection. But for me, on this vehicle, I'm going to get 4 to 5 months, if not even more on this vehicle, just by the method that I am using. And so this product is really easy to use. The PNS Defender Ceramic Spray Detailer, Sealant, whatever you want to call it. Very easy to use, very simple. Weather's getting a little bit better. We're now leaving the 110 degree weather. Now we're at somewhere around like 95 degree, right? It's still horrible, but could be worse, right? I'm working on a white vehicle, but the things that I'm noticing on this vehicle in particular is the paint is extremely slick, and of course that comes from the preparation as well, but the paint is very, very slick. I'm just using a good waffle weave towel. I'm flipping it back and forth for the application side, and then the removal, buff off, whatever you want to call it, right? But this product is doing a really, really good job. It's leaving a nice layer of shine and gloss. It looks great, it feels great, and I'll be honest, for a wash and wax service, this is actually a really good product to use. And for that, even though I wasn't trying to plug this product, I recommend giving it a try and picking it up, because it's really working here for me. And of course, what would a video be if I didn't show the ending results? The paint looks great, it feels great, and in direct sunlight, even though there's a little bit of overcast, this is just a really, really easy way of tackling the vehicle. I will go ahead and do my best to leave links to everything that I use in the description box below. But guys, Mr. Ladd here signing out. If you have not already done so, go ahead and click that subscription button, click the notification bell, wax the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.